The other thing that may come out of New Hampshire for Billary is Bill, I think, wants a shakeup in their campaign because he doesn't like the way the message is being delivered because obviously it's not being received well. So we'll see what happens. I think some heads may roll over there, and how are they going to change the message? I don't know.
All right, well, let's move to that subject. What really is Hillary Clinton's message? Because it seems to pivot constantly, and she seems to want to be everything to all people. You know, the moderate candidate, the progressive candidate, the cuddly grandma, the tough fighter who doesn't take shit. I mean, what is she? What is her message?
She's the one who got Osama bin Laden.
Took out Osama bin Laden. What what is her message, really?
What time is it?
I mean,
It'll change a half hour from now.
does
But
anybody know? And the problem is, she has no real clear defined message except how can I get what can I say to get elected? That seems to be what her message is.
yeah, well, she's good at reading her audience. So if she sees some black voters, she's going to, go right down there that we're going to continue Obama's legacy. And even though the black voters are probably there, like, hey, wait a second, I'm not better off.
Oh, and dude, you just watched that trip to Flint, Michigan. Mark my words. All she's going to talk about in the next debate and going on is how Bernie Sanders goes to New York to be on Saturday Night Live, and she goes to Flint, Michigan to care for the children, to care for the poor people. That's where her heart is. Sanders, his heart is going to New York to hang out with a bunch of celebrities. You just
like,
watch.
like,
You watch how hard that is pimped.
oh yeah, but is are people really buying it? It's sort of like Chris Christie making fun of Marco Rubio's looks. I mean, what did that get Chris Christie?
Well, they're running a '90s style campaign, and the problem is that Hillary thinks, saying one thing here and another thing here and being all over the place, that people don't have these things in their hands called cell phones, where you can just like Google something and find out, oh, that's what she said. Like that thing that's floating around Facebook right now of Hillary Clinton lying for 13 minutes. You know, I mean, you're not going to see that on CNN, but it's showing up in everybody's Facebook inbox.
Yeah,
And so the only people watching CNN at this point are people over 65 and who make over $200,000 a year. So it seems her message now is they're saying, look, we already got those people. We already got the old people and we already got the rich people. So forget about them. What we got to do is we got to get the young people and the minorities and everybody else. And the way to do it is just parrot Sanders. Parrot Sanders and crowbar him. That's our new strategy.
yeah,
Parrot and crowbar.
yeah, yeah. Bernie used the kitchen sink versus the crowbar, but yeah, that's what they're going to do. And in fact, I saw again on Fox, and I tuned into CNN first to get their take on it, and I was like, I cannot watch this.
No,
This
CNN has become unwatchable and unreadable and flat out yellow journalism.
They even had two black Americans on there who were actually arguing with each other. The one younger one was like, "Hey, wait a second, that isn't what happened." The older gentleman he was on the party line so strong, and the other guy was kind of like, well, and then Anderson Cooper cut the younger guy off because he didn't like what he was saying.
No, I mean Anderson Cooper is the only person who's more of a Hillary shill might be, well, Chris Matthews is the ultimate
Yeah,
Hillary
it's the
shill.
ultimate. Yeah,
He's such a Hillary shill that I think he's losing viewers because of it.
yeah. I can't watch him anymore. I just
No,
can't do it.
he's an
Uh,
angry old man.
well, and I don't know whether what he realizes is his time is over. I mean,
Over.
he is so out of touch with what is going on that, well, I mean, MSNBC's been cratering for years, but he's the lead he's the lead driver of the bus going over the crater cliff.
So Hillary's message, what would you say that it is, if you had to define it?
It's whoever's standing in front of me, I'll deliver it well. Bill has, trained me how to deliver this message. And whatever you're, again, as you said, they're running a 90s campaign where they don't realize that everybody's got a video camera on her, and somebody is going to pull this stuff off and go, hey, wait a second, let's string this together into a montage that makes Hillary look terrible. But I think she's going to try to go further to Bernie's position, to say, hey, there is no real difference between Bernie and me. And then Bernie's going to say, wait a second, you're the Wall Street candidate. I mean, if I personally believe that Wall Street would rather have Hillary than Trump.
But what's ironic now is Hillary's people are calling Bernie the Wall Street candidate.
What?
They are. They're calling Bernie the Wall Street candidate. They're pointing out how he took money from Goldman Sachs because like 9 years ago, Goldman Sachs put some money into this fund that went to all Democrats, and maybe like $67,000 indirectly went into a campaign he was having. So now he's the Wall Street candidate. And he showed up. And he showed up at a meeting with a bunch of Democrats once. So now he's the establishment candidate too. So,
well, spin it any way they want, right? But I think the American voter is a little smarter than that to go, wait a second.